The second law of thermodynamics explains how systems tend towards disorder over time. But this isn't always true. The very screen you are watching this on is a testament to that fact. Somehow, human engineering turned raw elements and energy into stable complexity. In other words, we turned disorder into order. Clearly, disorder is not the whole story. Schrödinger acknowledged this very discrepancy in his book, What is Life?, in which he wrote, "When a system that is not alive is isolated or placed in a uniform environment, all motion eventually comes to a standstill very soon as a result of various kinds of friction. Differences of electric or chemical potential are equalized. Substances which tend to form a chemical compound do so. Temperature becomes uniform by heat conduction. After that, the whole system fades away into a dead, inert lump of matter. A permanent state is reached in which no observable events occur. The physicist calls this the state of thermodynamic equilibrium, or of maximum entropy. It is by avoiding the rapid decay into the inert state of equilibrium that an organism appears so enigmatic. What then is that precious something contained in our food which keeps us from death? It can only keep aloof from it, i.e., alive, by continually drawing from its environment negative entropy. What an organism feeds upon is negative entropy, or to put it less paradoxically, the essential thing in metabolism is that the organism succeeds in freeing itself from all the entropy it cannot help producing when alive. This is Conway's game of life, a simulation of cells, every cell either alive or dead, governed by 4 simple rules of interaction. We can set the initial state as pure noise, with every cell having an equal random likelihood of being alive or dead. When we run the simulation, we can see in real time how a system can evolve to create structure from complexity, just by following a few simple rules for selection. We observe how certain configurations become stable unless acted upon by external forces. If we were to run the simulation for hours, we might never see the same image twice. This is a simple yet powerful demonstration of what it looks like for a system to turn pure noise into unlimited complexity. Schrödinger understood that the second law of thermodynamics does not encapsulate every system. Some systems are miraculously able to maintain structure and complexity over time by counteracting the force of increasing entropy and decay. The law of increasing functional information is an attempt to quantify this anti-entropic tendency. Functional information is an extremely useful concept because not only does it quantify every kind of useful information, it also is applicable to any kind of system. It is truly universal. Put simply, functional information is how much information it takes to specify a configuration that actually performs a desired function. Think of a pile of Lego bricks. These bricks have many possible arrangements, but only a tiny fraction result in a sturdy bridge able to support a load. The instructions for building those rare arrangements carry significant functional information. In this sense, a system refers to any situation where 2 or more distinct things interact. It could be anything: 2 electrons, a star and a planet, an animal and its environment, or a bacteria and an immune cell. But the researchers behind the law of increasing functional information were particularly interested in systems that evolve. They established 3 criteria for an evolving system. First, the system must have many pieces that can rearrange in many different ways. Second, the system actively rearranges and changes these pieces, resulting in new arrangements. And third, the system is subject to some form of selection. This selection is determined by function, where arrangements that accomplish a functional goal will persist. Furthermore, the researchers proposed that all macroscopic evolving systems exhibit static persistence, dynamic persistence, and novelty generation. Static persistence describes a system that is stable enough to stay in its current state long enough to evolve more states. Dynamic persistence is where there is enough input of energy or other drivers that the system can generate a lot of different rearrangements and stay stable in this highly varied state. Novelty generation refers to when a system can generate brand new configurations or arrangements given enough time. When a system demonstrates these characteristics, it will inevitably exhibit increasing functional information over time. A system that is stable enough to exist for a meaningful length of time, dynamic enough to have variety, and capable of generating new combinations will always exhibit an increase in functional complexity. Intelligent systems demonstrate all of the characteristics necessary for the law of increasing functional information. Such systems exhibit a natural tendency towards an increase in reliable, reusable information per unit time, energy, or data. We can use this relationship to draw several conclusions about intelligence itself. But first, let's talk about language. Language is very interesting because it is a tool for transmitting and recording instructions which enable a faster increase of functional information over time. With just a small set of symbols and a few rules for combining them, we can generate an unbounded amount of meaning. Recursion lets minds compose new functions from old, transmit them, and recombine them into something new. Crucially, language exists outside our heads. Writing, diagrams, code institutions, and shared standards are all extracranial memory. They allow functional information to persist, spread, and be reused. In this sense, intelligence is just a property of a network that exhibits a positive feedback loop for accumulating functional information. If you zoom out on all human knowledge, you can actually see this network. Concepts link to concepts, clusters forming around disciplines, bridges are built where ideas cross-pollinate. This is a visualization of all of the articles on Wikipedia. Similar concepts are linked together, and more common concepts have stronger links. But this is just the surface depth, the most simple representation of human knowledge. But we can go much deeper. Large language models, as well as humans, exploit the exact same mechanisms and networks to evolve information, just at a substantially deeper and more intimate level. Instead of a map from one high-level concept to another, every single word, every phrase, every story, every nook of meaning contains some level of semantic relevance to every other word, phrase, story, or meaning. And instead of measuring this relevance in 2 dimensions like our Wikipedia graph, language models create nuanced relationships between concepts across thousands of dimensions. By leveraging deep learning techniques, this relevance is recorded, mapped, and defined within a vast network of information. But as we covered before, intelligence isn't just about understanding predefined information, but rather it is the ability to make sense of something that has never been made sense of before that matters. This one feature is fundamental for all of human ingenuity, yet this ability is still completely absent in current digital systems. It is not what a system knows, but what a system is capable of knowing that matters. And here's an example. This is one of the games from the most recent ARC AGI benchmark. This is a puzzle game with no explicit instructions. The whole point is for the player to explore the environment in order to learn the rules and create their own attempt towards victory. Through trial and error, humans are able to quickly understand the hidden rules governing this puzzle. But any state-of-the-art language model struggles to make any progress whatsoever. A system that can natively learn is much more useful or functional than one that can't.